Now let's continue building the third screen we have on Figma, which is this one. Whenever this Burger King is tapped, we need to navigate to this screen. So let's create this screen. Here inside screen, I'll create a new file with the name something like food item screen. That will be the screen name. Here we will create a new stateless widget with the name food item screen. Placeholder will be replaced with scaffold, and we need to add navigation to this screen. So in the body, for time being, let's add some text in the center. That will be food item screen. And now I will add navigation from this home screen. Here I have this food item widget, so we can improve it here. Whenever this is tapped, let me add this inkwell widget here. Whenever this is tapped, we need to implement some logic here. So I will take this tab whenever I instantiate this widget. So I will take it from here. What's the type? Let's copy it and just paste it here. This is what we will be taking whenever we call the constructor of this widget, we create this widget. So let's set it to on tab. It can be null or you can pass it. So here inside this food item widget, we can pass this on tab here. Whenever this on tab is pressed, I would like to navigate to this screen. So for that, let's add navigator, and then it will be push. Here I need to add material page route builder, and then I need to add the screen here, that is the food item screen. And we have added our navigation. Whenever I take this, it will move our user to the next screen, which is the food item screen. And now we will be building this screen. So first of all, you can see we have this screen here, and on top of that we have this other widget, which is this container. So let's create this first. We need to add a stack here. So inside this food item screen, we need to add a stack because we need to put widgets on top of each other. So here I will use this stack, and I will have children. The first will be the image.asset file that we will take from the Figma, and let's export this file. We have this image, click on export png and export it. Let's export it here. That will be food item picture. So this will be the name. Let's save it, and we will use the same. So it will be assets slash food item and then pic and then .png. So this is the asset we have added here successfully, and below we will have the widget, which is this one, that will be showing us the details of this food item that's been selected, and also some other things as well related to this thing. So here we have added this thing. Now we need a container to be added here. That will be this one. So to add that, let's give it some width, and that will be double dot infinity, because we need it to take as many width as it can. And then we will have the height set to something like, let's take it from the media query. We will get screen height from the media query. We'll use media query, and then we have dot size of constructor at constant context, and then we have the height. This is the screen height. So we will be taking screen height multiply by 0 point add, which is be 80% of the screen height. Let's make it container, and this will also have the color. We will be putting some decoration here. The color will be white. You can see it has taken the place. We need to align it to the bottom. So for that, if we set the alignment here, stack alignment, what is this property? This is alignment. We need to add it here. We can do stake, sorry, it's going to be alignment dot, we can make it something like center, but here it takes 80% of the screen size, so it has covered this image. We need to bring it down. So for that, let's add a position widget here, and that's gonna be 0 from the bottom. And we have, you can see we have this thing here now, but we have some issues, some layout issues. Let's find out what is it. Let's remove this align center. Do we still have this issue? What's wrong here? We have positioned to the bottom. Let's remove the double or infinity, and now it's good. Now we need to add some borders here. For that, let's add the border radius. That's going to be border, not the border, it's going to be the border radius, and it's going to be the circular. Let's add 12 here. No, it's not gonna work. We need to only add the border radius in some places. Let's make it 0.9 and see how it looks. I remove this border radius. We will just add border radius only to the top left and top right. So here we will be having radius dot circular. It's going to be 12, more than 12. We will add the same here as well, so just copy it and paste it. Now let's see why it's not showing the border radius. We have the container height set to screen height, and it's 0.9. Still we don't have the borders here. Let's restart our app and see what's wrong here. Remove the login, then this one. We have this issue here. The container, we need to set the width, and let's take the width from here. It will be screen width, and let's add width here. So the width will be that of the screen, and now it has taken the space. Let's minimize it to something like 0.7. We still have this thing 0.6 with the screen width. What's wrong here? We have the picture, but on top of that we have this container. So what's wrong here? Position is set to bottom. Let's add top here and add something like 500 pixels. We have the picture here now, but there are no border radius here, so definitely something wrong. Let's make it small, 400 and 300. Why it's not updating? Let's check out login. We definitely have some issue here. We need to figure out that issue. Let's remove the top. Let's remove the bottom from here, and we just need to add the top here. Let's set 100. Now you can see we have the corners here showing here, so I also need to make it a bit more down to the bottom of the screen. So let's increase it to 0.7, 0.8. Do we have any change here? Nope. Let's add it like 300, 200, and we have the corners showing here. Now let's increase it. We will make it 18 so that it's properly visible. You can see we have we have the corners here. Now we need to increase this a bit to 300. Just make it to 50, and we have it here. We have the container shown here. The color is white, and we have this thing being built. Now we need to add this Burger King, and then we have to also add this thing as well. So let's proceed with that. in the child we will be handling all those things. So here we have a column in the child, so let's add the column first. After that, let's add children. So I will start with adding the text widget here. That will be Burger King. You can see we have this text here. We need to add some padding here as well. So in the container we will add some padding that will be symmetric. So vertically let's give it a padding of something like 20, and horizontally I think 20 is a bit more. Let's make it 10. Let's make it 10, or we need to make it 15. Now I will increase the text size. Also I will make it a bit bold. So for that, let's add the styling, and here we have the h1 text style. So let's add it. h1 is white, I think, so I will use the copy with, and the color will be set to black. We have something wrong here. What is this on top of? We have the position widget, then we have the container. So if I remove this position widget, we have the container now. Oh, it's the scaffold background, so we need to bring this to the bottom. For that, let's use align here. I will use alignment, and the alignment will be to the bottom center. And now our container looks great. We have this problem. Actually, the space below here previously was not the container that we have built here. It was the scaffold background, and now it's been fixed. And now let's make it 0.7. It looks good now. And now from the Burger King, I think h1 is too much. We need to change the font size as well. That's going to be a bit small. Let's make it 20. I think it looks good now. So we need to align this text to the left as well. So I will wrap it in align. So I will set the alignment to center left, and let's see how it looks. I think we need to increase the padding a bit on the horizontal. Let's make it 15, or we need to make it 20. So it looks good now. We need to make it Burger King. It looks nice. Now after this widget, I need to add some spacing. So I will add a size box with the height of 5, and then I will add this star and the ratings. We have it from the previous widget, so I will go back to the home, and we have the food item widget here that has this star rating being added. So I will just copy this row from here, and let's paste it here. The rating has been added here. We have the height 5. Let's remove it and see how it looks. I think it looks fine. Now I also need to add this thing that we have already here, and we also have this distance. So let's copy it from the same place. This will be the row here. So let's copy this row, and now go back to food item screen. Here in the row, after that we need to add it here. We have another row, so just remove this row and add it directly here. Let's add some spacing here with the width of 10 and see how it looks. We can also increase it to 20. I think 20 or 25. It looks fine now. Similarly, I need to add it here as well. So let's add it here. Remove this one, and no, we have been mistaken here. We need to add spacing here. So I will just remove this. I need to add a spacing here, and I need to increase the spaces here. So I think it looks fine now. So we have the Burger King, and I think there should be small amount of spacing here, like 3 pixels. Now it looks good. So we have the food item details ready here. Then we have some spacing. So let's add this spacing. After this size box, we have added some spacing, but let's increase it to 20. And down below we will have this. Uh, this is the list view widget that we will be showing here. So we will be using the list view. This we can pick the same list view that we had added in the home screen, and we can use that here as well. So we will find that uh, list view, which is the horizontal list view. I think this is the list view we have. So we will just copy it and we will add a new widget to it. So let's copy it, and we also need to copy the spacing. So let's go to the food item now, and here down we will be adding this thing. From the category circle we need to change the widget now. So here let's add a container for time being and give it some height like 100 and width 200, and then a color. This will be the color, and let's give it the black for time being. Let's add it. You can see we have this list view being built in horizontal direction, and let's find out if we have enough spacing here. Nope, we need to add some spacing here. Let's make it 50. 50 is a bit more. Let's reduce this to 35. I think it looks great now, but here we need to change this thing. We need to transform it into this button type widget. So for that I will just make it a bit rounded rectangular. I need to add this decoration here. Then we have the box decoration. We will change this color. We will add it here now, and we will change this height and width. Let's make it 50, the height for the button, and for the width we can also add something like 50, or it's going to be 50 is large, we need to make it small. So let's add 30 here, but here we have this height set, so let's make it 60 and then 40, 35. I think it's enough for the button now. What we need to do here, let's remove this height. We need to give it some radius to the borders. So I will set the border radius to circular, and that's going to be something like 14. And it looks like button now. Let's make it 16. I will need to increase this a bit. Let's make it 60 in order to make the button a bit wider. So I think 70 will work. 70. It looks good now. I need to add a child here. After the box decoration, I need to add text here, and that text is going to be Burger King. So it's going to be white if the background is black, which means if it is selected. So we will pass some boolean here. So let's extract this button, extract the widget, and make it something like menu button. You can call it like menu button 1. Extract it. Here we need to pass the is selected flag, so it will be a boolean and it will be is selected. Let's make it final. This will be taken here. Default it will be false. It will be taken whenever we use this widget inside a constructor. So based on this is selected, we will choose two different colors. So here the text color is going to be, let's add some styling here. It's going to be body. We don't have the body here, so it will be text style. What's wrong? Oh, style, and then we have the body. We will copy it with the color is going to be dependent on is selected. If is selected is true, then we have the white color for the text, and if it is false, then we have the black for the font color or text color. Now we need to also adjust this black color. So if it's selected, then it's black. If not selected, then we can use transparent color. We don't need a color here. So by default it's false, so that's why it doesn't show any color. We need to also adjust this font size a bit. So let's make it small, like 14. We need to increase this width. Let's make it 80, and let's make it some small, 13. And we have the buttons here. Now what we need to do, if it's not selected, we need to add some border here. So here in the box decoration, I will add the border whenever this is not selected. It's going to be border.all, and if it's selected true, then we will add this border. The color will be black, and if it's not selected, then we don't need anything here. Sorry, if it's not selected, then we will show the border. You can see. Now let's make it in the center. We have the button ready here. It's going to be like burger. It's the category, so it will be burger, and the button looks great now. Now we need to do some adjustments. If it is selected, we pause the selected, then how will it look? We won't have the border, and the color will be black, and the text will be white now. So let's test it out here. Let's set the is selected to true and see how it looks. You can see we have this black buttons here. It will be shown whenever it's selected. We need to reduce this a bit, the spacing. Now it's fine. Now we have this padding set. Let's remove it, and the button looks fine now. I think one other thing that we can do here, we can set the height. We can change the height, and this is what we can do. We need to make it like 30. It looks perfect now. We can make these buttons. We can scroll horizontally, and we can access the other buttons as well. So what other thing that we can do here, that we can add the text whenever we can take text whenever we initialize this widget. So it will be string, and then it will be text. We can pass it from whenever we create the widget, we can pass this text here. So let's remove this burger from here, and instead add this text. And now whenever we use this widget here, we need to pass this text property. This is the burger, and we can create a list of categories. We have fries, coke, meals, etc. So we can take these values from the list so that we have the different text shown here. So let's create a list here. I will create a list that will be of type string, and it will be categories, or it will be categories. Let's add some values here. It's going to be burger, then we have the coke, then we also have the fries, etc. We can add some other as well, but like blah blah. Let's add some dummy values here. And now we will use this list to take values. So we have the list, which is the categories list, and we will be taking values based on this index provided. You can see we have the different colors here. You can also make it false, and we have these buttons showing here for categories. One other thing that you can see here, you can see we don't have the padding here for this widget. So we can add this padding. What we can do, we can remove the generalized padding we have added inside the container. We have this padding. We can remove this. We can just leave the vertical, and we will provide the horizontal padding to each widget separately. So for that, Here we have the text. I will wrap it with the padding widget, and I will provide the padding that will be h and sets dot symmetric, and that's going to be horizontal. Here I need to provide 20, so I will copy the same thing for the other widgets in order to provide padding. So let's add it for this row here as well. Similarly, we need to add this padding here as well, and we have the padding applied here, but here we need to just add padding to the left. So I will make it only, and to the left I will add the padding and not to the right. So you can see now, you can move it. We still have some padding being added here. Let's see, why do we have this padding on the right side? We have this horizontal for container, we have removed from the container, but why do we have this padding being added here? Have we added somewhere? No. What can be wrong here? We have this thing here. We have set the width to screen width. Let's remove it. We need to find this out, what's wrong here. Let's go to this widget, and what's wrong here? We have the horizontal set here. Similarly, we have the horizontal being set for this row, and then we have the pairing. Oh, we have the horizontal here. Let's make it left. It will be the only, and now you can see we have the button showing here, and it aligns perfectly with the UI now. We did change this somewhere, the padding, but I'm not sure where, but now it looks fine. Now we need to build this list of these items that we have here. It's a bit similar, but you can see there's a bit difference. There is some details about the food item, and then we also have the cost of that food. Then we have this plus minus here, from where you can add things to cart. You can increase or decrease the quantity. So let's build this thing. For that, I will use the list view that we created here. We just need to change the widget here. So let's come back to the home screen, and here we have this expanded, and then we have the widget, a list view. We will use the same list view, just we will just change the widget a bit. So for that, let's copy this. We have copied it to the expanded, then we move back to the food item screen, and below this thing we need to add it. This size block needs to be removed. Here we have this food item widget, so let's use it for time being. We need to increase this spacing. Let's make it 50. 50 is too much. 30, and let's see how it looks. Now here we need to modify this widget. For that, let's do some changes to this widget. So for that, I will copy exact same widget, but I will do some modifications to it. So let's go to the food item widget, and we will copy it. Let's copy it. No, it's not the widget. This is the food item widget, so let's copy it, and we will use it. We will use the same thing. Sorry, we need to go a bit higher, and let's copy this thing. Let's store it in the food item. Here I need to modify this widget a bit. It will be food item widget 2. You can give it proper naming. So I will use this 2 widget here. So I need to add, we don't need this thing here, that's redundant. And below we have this food item widget, so let's we have this 2 here now, so it's perfectly fine. We need to add this on tab from here. and we have the widget. Now let's do some modifications here. Firstly, we need to remove this new thing. We don't need it here, so we will remove this new thing that we have here in the widget. So we have this container, let's remove it, and we need to add this ratings in a row with this Burger King. So for that, this is chicken burger. Chicken, do you love chicken? So let's add this burger here, and we need to have these things in a row. So let's copy this text and add it in the row. Let's add some size box width here, that will be 10, and you can see we have the chicken burger and then we have the ratings here, which looks like this thing. Now what we need to do, we need to add some text here. So we will go here, and from here let's copy this text and paste it here and see how it looks. We need to add a row here. So this list, which includes chicken burger, this $7 and this text, it will be a column and it will be one widget, and this will be the second widget. For that we need to add a row here. So we will pick the entire list here. So to pick the entire list, we just we have this padding here, and after the padding we have this new, where is this new thing, just remove it, remove the spacer, and after the padding we need to add this a container that will be showing these buttons. So let's add a container for time being, and press Ctrl save. What's wrong here, the text is overflowing. So we have food item widget, inside it we have this padding, inkwell, material, then we have a container, inside the container we have this row, and in this row we have the image as the first widget, then we have the size box, then we have the padding, and this is the widget, this is the column that shows the text, rating, etc. So we need to give some spacing here as well. So let's add some size box width, that will be 10, and after that we will be showing these buttons. So let's add a container for time being, and let's give it some width like 200, and then let's give it some color, that will be black. Also give it some height, so that will be something like 50, and here the text doesn't fix here. So what we can do is we can wrap this column in expanded widget so that it can take the space that is available here. So what's wrong here, let's restart our app, log in this widget, and we still have this issue. So we cannot add expanded here, we have some issue. What's wrong with that? Let's remove this widget, and here let's wrap it with the size box and give it some width, that will be something like 300, and here 300 might not be enough, let's give it 200, and if you give it 150, still not enough. Let's remove this size box and add an expanded here to see how it looks. You will add an expanded here. No, due to the parents we cannot add expanded here, instead we can add this size box with the width, and it's going to be something like 120. 120 is very less. make it 140 and 150, but it has destroyed our UI. So here we need to remove this 200 width. Let's make it 100 for time being and see how it looks now. Here I think 150 isn't enough, we need to increase it to 180 and then 200. Still the text doesn't fit here. So what we can do here, if the text doesn't fit here, we can add overflow property here, that will be text overflow, and then it will be ellipsis. So now I think it's been handled better. We can also add lines here, we can add max lines here. So if we set it to 2, so it will be shown only in the 2 lines, but let's make it in 1. And now we need to handle the other thing. Let's make this fit something like 180. Why it's overflowing now, 45 pixels on the right, let's make it 50. Now we can add a button here. That's because of this containers that caused the issue. We have this chicken burger. So here what we can do here is we have added some padding here. We have the horizontal padding, the food item widget. Where is that been added? We have the container image.asset. After that we have this padding here, which is vertical 10. Let's reduce it to vertical 8, or we can add 6. Now we need to adjust other text. So what if we make it max lines to 2? We have a bit issue here. Let's make it 170. What's wrong here now? Here you can see the image is smaller in height. So here we can reduce the spacing, which is this one. Let's make it 5, or we can remove it. Let's see how it looks. We have some spacing here, so we will definitely need to add some spacing here. So let's add some spacing, give it a few pixels like 3, and similarly we also need spacing here, size box, and its height is going to be 3. Set a comma here. Here we have 3, and below here we also have 3. I think it should be 5. 3 is very less. We need to adjust the picture a bit. So this is how it looks. It's more than 5. Let's give it, this will be 5, and this is going to be something like 8. And we need to add the dollar here instead of this text. So we will just remove this image asset and just remove this row. Instead we need pure text widget, and that will be dollar. We need to add backslash before dollar, and then let's add 7 here. Remove this, and you can see we have the $7 here. Now we need to style it like body, and then copy it with color that's going to be black. For the image we need to fit the height. For that, here let's add this cover to fit height. It's not working, it's a PNG file, so it's causing this issue. Let's make it filled. Still it's not working, it doesn't fit here. So what we can do, we have the height here. Let's set the height to 100. Let's increase this to 150, 120. We also have the width being increased, so we need to make the width a bit smaller. So the width will be something like 100. It somehow fits now, but it should be a bit high in width. And let's also let's reduce this corner radius. We will reduce it to something like 14, like 12. It's still, actually I think the image is a rounded corner, so we cannot specify border radius here. So if we have a square image, then it will work perfectly, but it's this rounded corner image, so we cannot specify this doesn't work here because it's been rounded. We don't have a square image here. So let's make it look like this, and we have the widgets being placed properly. We also need to add one thing here. We need to add the button, but this image doesn't fit here. If we have a square image, then we can fit it properly without any issue. Also what we can do, we can reduce the font size of this text a bit. So we have the text style here, style, we can specify text style here. The font size is going to be something like 12, and it will better fit now. We need to reduce the image size now. So let's remove this height and width. We still the height to be increased a bit, still need. So let's remove this width thing and let's add 100 here, and then 110. It still doesn't work. Just remove this thing. And whenever we have a perfect image, we can easily handle this scenario here, but due to this issue we have these problems. It's not fitting in the height. What if we try something like size box here with the height set to 120? It also increased the width. It shouldn't be the case, so let's reduce the width. It's been handled, but it doesn't look good. We need to adjust this thing a bit. Let's remove this size box. Here we need to adjust this by adjusting the sizing here. For that, let's make it a bit small as well. So add the text style and the font size to be set to 13. Similarly, we have this 10 being added here. It needs to be 5. Sorry, it's the width in the row. This is the 5 height, and then we have 8 here. Let's make it 6, or let's make it something like 3. We can also adjust the height here. Let's make it 3. Now it fits the container, but we can adjust it and still it looks good, not bad. Here we can make it something like 160 to get some spacing. So now here, instead of this container, we need to add this button. So we will add a row here that will have children, and we have these 2 buttons, which is the circle avatars. So I will use circle avatar with the radius set to small, something like 8, and then we have the child. We add an icon here. That's going to be icon dot minus or subtract. Let's see if we have a button for minus here, and we can also add text instead that will be showing this minus icon. Similarly, we have the circle avatar, and this we will add a plus here. We have these 2 buttons, but the radius is too small. Let's make it 10, then 20. So we will add these buttons. It will be 20 as well. We have the issue, so let's fix it. Make the radius set to 10, 10, and let's make it 15. We have the two buttons here, but we need some more space here. For that we can adjust this. Let's make it 150. Now what we can do is that we will provide some spacing here. We need to add text in between these two circle avatars. The text is going to be something like 1, and then a space you get in here. Now we need to make it cross-section line set to be center. It's not working. So from where we can do these changes, we have this main row. The cross-axis element is set to start, so let's make it in the center. And we have this button being added here. These buttons are now in the center. We just need to add these colors. One is black and the other is white. So for that, let's use the background color property here. One will be the white and the second will be the black. In the black, the style is going to be the text style and the color is going to be white. And when we have this white here, we also need to add some shade here. So to add shade here, we will wrap it in material, and you can see we have some shade being added here. It doesn't looks good. Here let's set the elevation. We also have the border radius here that we can set. Let's set the elevation to 5, and also let's modify the shape, and it will be circle border. It's a circle now. Let's make it 3 and 2. It looks good now. We can also add some spacing here if it allows. No, we can adjust this text here. That will give us some spacing. So for that we will come to the rating here. So here in the rating, what we can do, we can set the style, text style, and it will be font size set to 14, or we can set 13 here. And you can see we have the buttons being added here and everything we have, but you can do these adjustments. You can also add icons instead of text here in the plus minus section. Let's reduce it as well. Now it looks better. You can do all sorts of adjustments here. So you can see here we have this view guard button. So it's the elevated button. Let's add it here, or we can also add a button in the stack. So let's add it in the stack. We have a stack here, which is this one. We need a button to be added to the bottom. This is the stack, and here let's add a button that will be elevated button. We need to add this styling here. So it's a bit different from this one. We can copy that button style. So here in the login screen we have the button here, the custom button. Let's copy it. Well, a good design is one where you have consistency in the button styles. That makes it easy to build the design. So here we have this problem. The design is a bit inconsistent. Looks good, but the user experience isn't that good. So let's add this button here. Let's make it custom button 2. Here I need to do the changes, but let's first add this button here in the stack. So the last widget we have in the stack will be this custom button 2, and we need to make sure it sticks to the bottom. So we have added a line widget here. For that we will add the same that will be align, and let's set the alignment to bottom center. And we have the button here, but we need to do some adjustments. We need to give it some padding. So for that, we can either add padding here, or we can go to custom button. Here let's add a padding widget here. So we will be adding padding here, and it will be symmetric, and in the horizontal we will add something like 20. So the padding has been provided. We need to give it some, we will give it white color. No, white, not white, it will be black. And the text is going to be the button style, but it's going to be, it needs to be white. So we have something wrong here. We have rounded rectangular border, it's fine. The border color needs to be removed. We don't have a border here. The border radius is set, but background color is black, but it doesn't show proper color. It's because we haven't added on tab here. So we have this on pressed, we need to pass it from here. So we will come down here. Whenever I pass this on pressed, now the color will be shown. So we have this login, we will change the text. So from login it will become add to cart, add to cart, or we can also make it like view cart as per the design. It doesn't just show this view cart, it's a row. So we will wrap this with the row widget, and after view cart we need to add these $7. So just copy it from here, paste it, and it's going to be $7 backslash dollar and then 7. We need to set this main axis alignment to space between, and it looks perfectly fine now. We may also need to add some padding here so that it comes out of this bottom margin. So for that, let's add vertical spacing to 10 and then 15. Now it looks good. You can see the button has come out of the screen corner. I think we can increase it a bit. Let's make it 20, and this is the button now. So the design has been built. We have missed these two buttons that we can add here. So for that, we will come back to the top of the screen, and here when we have this asset here, so we can also add these two buttons here. So in this tag we also need to add a row here that will be after this image row will have two children's, and the main axis alignment to be set to space between. And now we need to add some container here. Then we have a child. The child is going to be this button. So I will add icon. It will be icons dot arrow back iOS. We have this button. What we can do here, we can also just use a circle avatar here, and we need to set a background color. That's going to be colors dot gray, and we need to set some opacity here. That will be 0.3, and see how it looks. We have the button being built here, but we need to add some spacing here. For that, just wrap it in padding, give it some padding. It will be padding, sorry, edge and sets dot symmetric. We will provide some vertical padding to 10 of 10. No, 10 won't work. We can set something like 30. No, it's going to be 50. and then we can also give it some horizontal padding. That will be 20. We have the back here. We also need some padding only for this back button because it's not center aligned, so it's going to be padding edge insets, not only left, and it will be 5. So it's a bit in center now. We can set the color to something like white. See how it looks. It looks perfectly fine now, and this needs to be increased a bit to something like 8. So we have the button being built. Now we need the second button. Let's copy it, and here we need to add this favorite icon. So we will add the favorite and see how it looks. It's not in the center because we don't need the pattern for this button, and you can see it looks perfectly fine now. So this is the complete design. We have completed the design, and this was the tutorial for building the design of a food delivery app UI. Hope you enjoyed the content and learned a lot about building designs. So that's it for today video, guys. See you in the next video. Goodbye.